Movie careers come and go in the blink of an eye, and more often than not, if you pull back all the glitz and glamour from these people, you find out that they're always on the balance of a knife edge. One wrong movie project can send you down to the bottom of the pecking order, and a truly heinous one might even see you drop off the map entirely. However, sometimes it's much more surgical than this. You can actually pinpoint, much like when Ralph's heart got broken in The Simpsons, exactly when the damage was done. So let's gather round and take a look at these screenshot moments that sent careers down the toilet. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 exact movie moments that killed a career. Number 10. You've been trunked. Tom Green. Oh, Tom Green, you were so strange, and for a moment back where you'd managed to get the world on your side. You'd even managed to get Drew Barrymore as your wife and had a rabid fan base. And then you had to finger it. Well, Freddie got fingered, to be exact. If there's one surefire way to instantly sour the general public on you, it's a film that acts with such bad taste that it seemed intent at pissing everyone off just for the sake of it. You could go through this film with a fine-tooth comb and point out how it's subverting a lot of genres and lampooning others, but that didn't make it any less of a displeasure to watch. And you know what? Pleasuring is definitely the right word, as in this film, Green tries to toss off an elephant, and it's here, as he's trying to knob on a Nelly, he must have realised, yeah, this might not go down very well. As a whole, Freddie Got Fingered effectively sunk Tom Green's career, but to pinpoint one moment though, it's definitely when he tried to despunk the trunk. Number 9. Swimming pool shenanigans. Elizabeth Berkley. The example of Elizabeth Berkley goes to show that an actor needs to be extremely careful when trying to reinvent themselves. Hot on the heels of her Saved by the Bell days coming to an end, Berkley was desperate to shed the ever-chirpy, insta-smiling persona that she'd become lumbered with. And nothing shakes off that shackle better than synchronized boner water! Yes, that's right, in Paul Verhoeven's 1995 Showgirls. Yes, that exact same Showgirls that actually derailed a fair few careers. You can see poor old Liz flailing against not only a dire script, but also against some stanky pool water as she straddles Carl McLachlan. And weirdly enough, it seems like she loses all control of her bodily functions. Now, Showgirls was such a disaster that this film somehow both sunk and was an absolute floater at the same time, which makes it kind of a marvel. Number 8. A venomous fall from grace. Topher Grace. More recently, audiences have been given Tom Hardy's take on Eddie Brock, aka Venom. The film itself may not have taken the world by storm, but the consensus was that Hardy was a phenomenal Brock. At least he was compared to Topher Grace, who took up the toothy suit mantle in Spider-Man 3. And it was a strange choice to cast that 70s show star in the role in the first place, seeing as he'd only proven his comedy and nerd chops in roles to date and little else. And Brock is usually portrayed as a muscled reporter with a mean streak. I mean, you couldn't really find anyone who looked less like Eddie Brock. As a result, Venom, much like when your mum says that she'll come round and give me a good seeing to, just didn't feel very threatening, especially when I know she's got the rubber truncheon in the bag and I know where that's going. And even less so when the mask peeled back to reveal Topher's face with that teeth that he looked like he bought from a comedy prop store. And also, yes, that was my whopper list. Now, luckily, Topher's career has seen him return from the wilderness in recent years, but after such a commanding role on the hit TV show, Venom dealt him a deadly dose of poison to his career. Number 7. The Fallen Angel, Jake Lloyd. You can't help but feel sorry for Jake Lloyd. I mean, thrust into the pop culture spotlight at just 10 years of age as Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace, people were outright cruel to this youngster upon Episode 1's release. To his credit, Lloyd wasn't all that bad in the role of the future Darth Vader. His Anakin was buoyant, excitable, eager to learn, and shared a fantastic bond with his mother. Shmi, what a great name. The problem here, though, lay in the dialogue that young actor was tasked with. For many, the moment that still makes them squirm is the "Are you an angel?" line that Anakin says to Natalie Portman's Padme. It felt like a million voices cried out at once in disgust and then were silenced forever. Actually, they were the exact opposite of silent and berated the poor kid, forcing him in part to make the decision to end his acting career in 2001. Number 6. Throwing hoops, Halle Berry. At one point in time, Halle Berry was one of the biggest names in Hollywood. And these days, well, she's doing direct-to-TV movies and trying to land semi-decent TV roles. So, I mean, what happened here? Well, if you want to pick a point in time, you could just show people Catwoman and be done with it. In fact, picking just one moment to justify why it was so universally hated from this burning garbage is quite hard, but you know what? Let's try and stomach this scene in which she plays a creepily sexed up basketball game with Benjamin Bratt. Seriously, there is so much wrong with this scene, from the awful pacing to the laughable choreography to the sheer amount of cuts involved. But the worst thing is that it's so strangely sexualized and ends with you as an audience member thinking that they're gonna bang on this court. With all those kids about, it's just so wrong. Next. Number 5. Tanked Girl, Lori Petty. She may have landed herself a good supporting role in Orange is the New Black in 2014, but Lori Petty's acting career was derailed for nearly 20 years thanks to her headlining role in 1995's Tank Girl. Now, Tank Girl famously, well, tanked with fans and critics alike, and Petty decided to take a break from acting after that movie was slated by the masses. She stayed busy, though, writing and directing The Poker House in 2008, which was met with critical praise. It's just a shame, though, that her career has been left in tatters after Tank Girl flopped. What makes this situation worse, though, is that a lot of the flack that Tank Girl caught was due to massive changes made by the studio without Petty's knowledge, meaning that the film she shot and the film that was delivered are almost completely different. Number 4. Holy career ender Batman, Chris O'Donnell. As a choice to play Dick Grayson, Chris O'Donnell really wasn't actually that bad of a fit. I mean, sure, you'd have to stomach a slightly older version of the character, but it paved a way for Nightwing to take flight if the film was a success. Oh wait, it was not. While Batman Forever just about was passable, Batman and Robin damaged nearly every single career that touched it, Chris O'Donnell included. That fourth Batman picture saw Joel Schumacher go completely overboard in every possible way as Warner Brothers did its best to shill a shed-load of new toys. Since this flop, O'Donnell hasn't appeared in anything other than 2010's A Little Help. This, from a man who once received a Golden Globe nomination for Scent of a Woman to little more than what is now a fading smell of a fart. One that was exemplified by the fact that he received 2 Razzie Award nominations for his portrayal of Robin. But if we're to pick one line, though, it has to be, "Holy rusted metal, Batman!" Huh? As that, well, that was just weeping piss. Number 3. The trip that sunk a career, Cuba Gooding Jr. After nabbing himself a Best Supporting Actor gong for 1996's Jerry Maguire, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s career took a nosedive with 2002's Boat Trip. This was a flick that was universally slammed as being one of the most homophobic mainstream pictures in modern cinema history, and it is no surprise that this was the flick that sunk many careers along with itself. Again, it is hard to pick out just one moment, but if we were, then probably it's going to be this clip of Gooding Jr.'s horned up Jerry and his pal Nick realizing that they've signed up, oh no, for a gay cruise. In the years since Boat Trip, Cuba Gooding Jr., someone who was once seen as one of the finest actors of his generation, has been reduced to headlining bargain basement trash. The only flicker of life in his career in recent years has been his strong turns in The People vs. O.J. Simpson and Fox's American Horror Story, Roanoke. Number 2. Squeeze me? Ahmed Best. For Ahmed Best, Star Wars was both a curse and a blessing. On the one hand, it is Star Wars, one of the biggest franchises ever, and you've cemented your place within its history. On the other side, it's the prequels, and you're playing Jar Jar Binks. I cannot sit here and defend the writing or presentation of this character, easily the worst and most unwelcome comic relief figures in years, but the tailspin that was delivered to Ahmed was horrible. Becoming that Jar Jar Binks guy, he has dropped off the face of TV and film, and has only done some shorts in the occasional mid-profile voice acting role. Much like Jake Lloyd, Ahmed was recently talking about the negative carryover onto his life after being involved in the Star Wars franchise, and you gotta feel sorry for him. But if there's any moment to express how stinky his role was, then look no further than with that EOP farting scene. Apt, I say, apt. And number 1, the love guru, Mike Myers. Most of the people on this list hit a brick wall with their terrible roles, and it stopped them dead. But for years it appeared that Mike Myers would avoid such a fate, running from Wayne's World to Austin Powers to Shrek of all things. However, things took a turn. The Cat in the Hat bombed hard, and it seemed that this was all she wrote for his credibility. That was until The Love Guru came out in 2008 and sent that stock price through the goddamn floor. Bar a super brief cameo in Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds and a supporting role in this year's Bohemian Rhapsody, Myers hasn't appeared in a live-action movie since The Love Guru. And you know what's the most frustrating thing about this? The fact that Mike Myers was once viewed as one of the outright most hilarious people on the planet. And it's this knowledge that makes it easy to say that the exact moment that killed his career was when he looked at this script for The Love Guru and thought to himself, yeah, this is a surefire winner.